Welcome into another episode of Discard for Magic. I'm one of your hosts, Aaron.
I'm your other host, James or Jexic, and today we're quite excited to bring back on Colby Dowk and Joe Ellis.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for having us.
My mind is a little blown because I just realized something. Every time I come on here, Aaron says he's going to bring in Craig. And I just realized it's not a real human, like a producer.
No.
It's like a bot.
No, that's the guy that says, recording started.
All this time, I thought there was some other person who helped you guys record and edit.
Yeah, we don't pay Craig a whole lot, but Craig does a lot of work. Well, we're excited to have both you guys on again. Excited to talk some more Summoner Wars and Plaid Hat and see what you guys have been up to.
We got a bunch of questions for the community, but before that, I have a question related to taking Summoner Wars stuff into real life. I guess the question is, by the time this comes out, it'll just be a few days before Halloween. So who do you think gets the most into spooky season? And does anybody dress up? And who has the best costume?
Who gets the most into spooky season out of Summoner Wars? Summoners?
Yeah, Summoners, yeah. Let's stick to Summoners, keep it easy.
I mean, it's gotta be one of the dark. Rhett Talus is pretty prepared for spooky season.
Baron Daymar.
I'd say one of those two, right?
But that's just like them going about the regular day. Maybe
yeah, I mean, wouldn't Cylindar be like too aloof and too cool to want to like celebrate anything?
Cylindar's probably not celebrating human holidays.
Do you think Sarah really gets into it?
Sarah's not into it. Neither is Valeria.
Sarah celebrates harvest.
High elves are not into it. High elves put on a hell house.
I think Roko Moko, he looks like he'd be fun to have at a Halloween party. That'd be my pick, perhaps.
Maybe the Hecatea probably is a good Halloween season. She probably celebrates.
A little bit of spooky there, some potion brewing.
Yeah, she puts some inflatables in the yard.
Sits out there with a big pot and just stirs it the entire time.
Yeah, got some dry ice in there and make it a bubbly.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe turns it into mulled wine or something somewhere along the way.
Which of the Summoner Wars characters do you guys think would be the best, like, actual Halloween costume?
Oh, like for someone to make?
Yeah, if someone was going to make a Halloween costume, or say the crazy things happened, Summoner Wars got super mainstream, and like a company made Summoner Wars Halloween costumes, like which one?
A company did make a Summoner Wars first edition Halloween mask of Frick.
Really?
Cave Goblin. Yeah,
I did not know that.
I have it here in the office.
That's crazy.
So that one.
It's quite high quality.
Yeah, it's just like the guy now, I mean, he didn't then, but now he has a board game studio. He was just into board games and had a Halloween costume company.
The owner of Spirit Halloween likes Summoner Wars?
No, not that guy. I'm trying to think of what his game company's called. It's something Halloween Games or something like that. Trick or Treat Studios, maybe.
Yeah, that sounds familiar, actually.
He's at Gen Con every year.
And he made a Frick mask.
Yeah, Trick or Treat Studios. That's a real thing.
Yep, but that guy, he made a mask of Frick. There's also one of Jacoby from Mice and Mystics and of Maginos from Mice and Mystics.
Oh. But
yes, I was trying to go for, okay, well, these are characters from the games for Summer Wars fans, but also it's possible that this would just work for a character somebody's going for. Like,
yeah, Goblin mask.
It's a mouse.
If you could pull it off, I think what would be the most fun Halloween costume would be Thrak, because he's got that wild hair. So you get to paint yourself blue.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And put a lot of hairspray in your hair.
For me, it'd be a really big wig.
I mean, this is not the question I asked originally, but now thinking about Thrak, he kind of reminds me of the 80s metal bands, and maybe they'd make and since they already have electricity, maybe they'd make a good rock band.
Absolutely.
I don't know about good, but
it'd be like, noise rock.
Loud. They could make a loud rock band.
It would be a rock band.
I bring up Celeste all the time, but I feel like she would find people that would be good at music somewhere along her travels.
She's just the answer to all the questions because she knows the most people.
Yeah, she's got the connections.
Yeah, I mean, they seem like they got some bards in the group, I'm sure.
And definitely dancers. We know that much.
Yeah, so they got to be dancing to something.
All right, I think we can move on.
So the first question we have for you guys is, will there be, and there's a little bit of a backstory to this, because Martin Abel tends to do like streams with some of the art, and people pointed out that one of the folders that was labeled like Summoner Wars has an Ashes character in it. So they were curious, will there be an Ashes and Summoner Wars crossover character, like a Phoenix-born mercenary or something of that nature?
There are some characters that he did a version of, like an alt art for the Ashes campaign, Kickstarter campaign. So there's like a Hope that is in Martin style. She's an Ashes Phoenix-born, and an Odette. And then he also did Realm Walker, which is going to be a promo. Or is? Did we send that to the Dice Tower? Is that the one the Dice Tower got most recently?
Yes, I think so.
So yeah, Realm Walker is a unit in Ashes, an ally, I believe, that has a Summoner Wars crossover. I think if you back the Dice Towers campaign, you're getting that soon. Otherwise, subscribers will get it once the Dice Towers period of exclusivity runs up, which is a year out.
I think that was the character that people saw on Martin Abel's streams.
Yeah, sounds like Realm Walker.
Yeah, and it looks like, based off the Ashes art, that it was like an alternate art for it. So, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, we tried to line up the promo cards to sometimes cross over, like we did a Freelancers one, and we did a Wandering Galaxy one.
But where's the Super Auto Pets promo?
I don't think there's going to be one. You can pretend one of the squirrels in Thornhole Dre is a squirrel.
Do you want like a little cat or something? Little dog?
What if you just put in generic turtle, and that was Torch Turtle that he gets in Summoner Wars? And
Yeah,
it's just the turtle from Super Auto Pets.
Just emoji turtle.
I think we'd all be a little disappointed.
You'd mentioned the Thornhole Dre, and that was the first faction that wasn't really designed by your guys' staff. There was another guy who's playtested for you guys before and designed like another game or two. Is this a theme that we'll see more in the future? Do you guys think that other designers you guys will ask if they want to design a Summoner Wars faction?
Jeff, who designed the Thornhole Dre, is itching to design more factions. I put the brakes on him a little bit just because I don't want it to get to the point where I'm not the primary person producing the factions.
Yeah.
It could easily slip into that because, I'm busy. I have to make sure I don't have very many people submitting faction designs. But it's possible as the game has to look harder and harder for new ideas that I might need to reach out to some other brains.
Well, if you need to reach out to some other brains, James and I'll
keep you guys in mind.
could potentially design a faction.
All right, let's see. What's your best pitch for? Okay, let's throw together two symbols here that we haven't used. Divine Instinct.
Divine and
We've done
Instinct.
that, have we?
No, we definitely haven't. From the deck building side, the interesting thing there that already exists is the ability to push stuff and have them take damage when they push, like if they have engage. I'm just thinking about those symbols and what they represent.
They're kind of opposing a little bit.
Yeah, so because on the one side you have Divine, which is about order and hierarchy, and then you have Instinct, which is like, I just want to smash
Divine's
stuff.
healing and Instinct's reckless.
I thought of monks, but you guys already have one in play, I think, for monks. So
Yeah,
we do. Nick has designed a monks thing that I haven't looked at yet, but need to.
maybe not exactly a name, but maybe it could be a return of like the Vargath Vanguard.
oh.
But like a different name. Like give them something cool, like we're the Vindicators or something like that.
Yeah. That was definitely like the two leftover factions that had to be smashed together in the alliances set.
I don't know if that's true. I like that. I like that team up.
That was one of my favorite team ups in the alliances.
They're both kind of militant and organized in that way.
Yeah.
And they both start with V.
So that's why you go with the Vindicators although Vindicators I think might have been a name of something that never happened. Never mind.
Vindicators is the name of a Canadian superhero team. Or no, maybe that's just the leader was called the Vindicator. They were called Alpha Flight.
So my idea is you'd have goats pushing people around.
But religious goats.
Religious goats. There you go.
I don't know. It's tough to come up with what to do with a simple combo that quick.
I know.
Yeah.
Just for fun. That's actually good insight, though, that would sort of be the deck in that zone that exists. That's definitely true. I never would have grabbed that out of the air.
It is getting harder and harder. The more stuff you put out, the harder it gets to reach for something without. Still don't want to get into where things get too wordy.
I think you guys have done a fantastic job with continually having very fresh ideas. Because a lot of the upcoming ones and a lot of the recent factions, there were 28 factions into the game, and there's still very, very unique factions coming out. There's slight overlaps occasionally in abilities and stuff, but the feel of the faction has been always very unique.
Yeah, the overlaps in abilities are intentional. It's like, if this thing is trying to do something that's close to an ability we already have, it's just less brain drain, I think, I could read the ability title and know what it does with this new faction. I just think there's something clean and fun about bringing back an ability, but here it's serving a different purpose.
That's definitely the idea, is that it could have the same, just like two units could have the same stats. Even the same exact unit could have a very different role in a different deck. So
that's true.
What I found is I really like the reusing abilities, especially something the one I always look at is imbued strength. Just you have boosts, it gives you more strength, but how many different ways can those units then acquire boosts totally changes the way those units play.
Yeah, that's the most obvious one.
And what their base stats are and stuff like that.
Yeah, totally.
But also some of them are swift or flying. You could just throw in alongside another ability.
That is nice, yes. You know what? It also saves me a lot of time when we reuse abilities.
When you just say, just put in Swift. Done.
Yep. As long as I coded it right the first time, it could work on another unit, which is not always the case.
Speaking of new factions, we've been hearing that there might be turtles. When do we expect turtles?
It's impossible to tell.
Man.
Tort's always asking us. I feel like every conversation with Tort just starts with, when are the turtles coming?
Turtles are definitely on our mind. We talk about turtles when we're coming up with new factions.
Could this be turtles?
It's impossible to tell, because even if we assign them a pair of symbols, which we might have just as a placeholder, we don't know what we know what each 6 are, which 6 belong together, but we don't know which ones we're going to do next. It's just dependent on basically the first one we have a really good idea for.
Mm-hmm.
If we do the one that they're in.
Yeah.
I mean, Water Divine is pretty obvious match.
Yeah, I think we did do that.
We got to meet Tortugatron at Gen Con, and he turned out to be a cool guy, so I think that made us more inclined. Before we met him, we had no idea. He was like, this guy could be a total freak.
I always liked him. He's always showing up to the streams. Joe was the one that was wary of him.
Those symbols are matched with, this still exists, the Deep Dwarf symbols of Dark Engineering. So that probably would be sooner rather than later, I would think.
Do you think that would be the next wave, or a wave or 2 after?
I mean, you have to have ideas, right? And there's 2 ideas, so that's better than we have for any other set.
Hear that, Tortugatron? They're saying there's a chance.
We just started into a new set of 6. It's at least a year and a half out.
And I'm excited about this new set. Thornhold Dre are exciting as a faction. I really like them in playtesting. I think they were a lot of fun.
They took a long time to get through. That's another thing, is it seems like factions are taking longer and longer to get through playtesting the more of them that we have, which makes sense.
It has been so long since we released the Lizards and Wizards that, I mean, we have started getting customer support that's just I think I missed the new factions. Oh no, I'm worried. We're like, no, you haven't missed anything. It's just taken forever.
Yeah.
They're on a boat, officially. The Drakeson Rebellion and the Guild Dwarves are on a boat. Thornhold Dre are through playtesting, going back and forth with editing now.
Yeah, in theory, the next set could be quick.
I feel like Nick does this a lot with a faction that isn't too zany, but he is saying that they're stable. But from the first time Nick says they're stable until actually getting the playtesters to, generally be happy with them isn't always a short process.
Talk about the Moonstep Wolves now?
Yeah.
So what do we know about the remaining 4 decks in this wave? Or what can we know?
There's Air Divine in this wave. The Avians are coming back, a new Avian faction.
Ooh.
Oh.
Did you pick a name for them yet?
Well, I don't think we have a name for them yet.
So more airy units?
Yeah, they're going to be kind of Egyptian inspired, the leader will resemble a Ra type figure.
So Joe will be happy because his favorite game will be represented in Summoner War.
Well, it's not my favorite game, but it's the greatest game design.
Okay.
Joe's perfect game.
It is in the top 10 for sure.
Right below all the Plaid Hat games,
Exactly. That's what Colby demands of all his staff. Never admitting a flaw in any game we make.
They do it all the time. Anytime we have a bomb, Donald loves to rub it in.
Quote unquote challengers, they're struggling thematically. I've pitched themes at Colby and he's not happy with them. So I said, all right, it's up to you. I'm done pitching.
Which one was challengers?
Wasn't it water?
They are water psychic.
Yeah, water psychic.
I'm not against him. I'm just not excited about the deck after reading it. I can't come up with what I want the theming to be. I didn't say we weren't going to use them. I'm just moving on to something else first.
They'll be at the back end of the wave.
I gave him hillbilly goats. I gave him giants.
Who wants giant?
What about sea monsters?
Sea monsters?
Yeah, because to me, challengers sounds like something ginormous, a leviathan of some sort. So
the deck, well, I mean, all it is abilities that I typed out. It's nothing more than that, but it definitely pulls on the psychic a lot, drives the opponent's units in certain directions and things like that. And when Colby read it, he was like,
it's really primal
psychic, but who knows? That could be years away. I don't want it to be delayed.
The way I look at it, so I think every time there's a pairing of symbols, they kind of inform each other, They
definitely set the stage they're helpful in trying to get that seed of an idea.
Yeah, so I feel like
Faction's going to be.
Water is the one that people often argue about what it is. But I think water is, if it's strength through control, and the other side would be control through your strength. And then you figure out how that makes sense. Or it might, so maybe they would lower people's strength, kind of like the horror mutant kind of thing, or something along of that nature. Could be a type of ability they could have.
What I have is they have huge numbers, unbelievably big numbers. Like the summoner has 15 life, 8 or 9 strength, but hits Shonk.
Oh, okay.
It's a differently named ability because that says adjacent, I think, or something. But they give that ability to a lot of enemies.
Oh.
They're compensating with it via the giant numbers. But the enemies aren't.
Interesting. Where my brain went with it was giant kraken as the summoner, and then tentacle as one of the common units, and popping up, pulling people and controlling things.
There is something there for sure, and of course you have sirens as an archetype to work with. That's very water psychic.
That would be a good one.
When we were discussing the symbols, I was like, well, I've got you, Colby, because Shonk is water. And then he was convinced, and then I was like, well, let me double check. Nope, he's primal.
He's primal.
I didn't believe him for a second.
What about new mercenaries coming up? Because there was also, in one of Martin Abel's streams, people saw Prince Elion was being drawn. Is there potential for Prince Elion to resurface?
I think you have all the evidence you need there.
I think that's just Martin doing that for fun.
He's just a big fan of first edition.
He loves Summoner Wars. He's just excited to draw in his free time with extra Summoner Wars.
Unpaid Summoner Wars drawings.
Unpaid Summoner Wars.
We're not doing second summoners. I've said that from the start. So Prince Elion gonna be a mercenary? Yes. It's tied to things we don't have the freedom to talk fully about.
Sure. There was also in that same line of that person was asking the question of, will Mercenary ever branch out from Champs? I feel like it's fairly well contained in Champs, and those make it, like, the Mercenaries easier to add in and out. But they were asking, will there ever be, like, common units as Mercenaries or events? Like, there were common unit Mercenaries in first edition.
Yeah, I don't know about commons. I think that design goal with the Mercenaries is always that they're interesting enough to play them without them being like, just put this in every deck.
Yeah.
We're afraid of creating something that would do that. So we definitely try to go with quirky with them. As far as doing commons and events, there's less control because champs are one off. There's one in the deck. We do the wrong thing with a common or an event. It could really bite us.
It's also just nice it's just one card, which is very nice for sending out,
distribution and all that.
Giving out at a con, whatever. Nice and simple.
Yeah, and I think the containment in Champs does make, like, the testing easier, and it makes it doesn't have as much of an impact, because Champs can still be, like, very good in a deck and still not be, like, it's harder to make a Champ groundbreaking to the fact that you just destroy it in every deck, because it's hard to get Champs out.
I will say we don't know. Of course, there'll be a lot more changes when there is a campaign mode and stuff, and who knows what'll make that. It seems likely that there would be units that you could be recruited to about any deck in that box, but that's just speculation. No, not based on anything.
You just brought something all new. You said campaign mode and a box.
You're just laying it out there, huh, Joe? Revealing all of our secrets. Not even like drilled for it. You're just willingly offering them up.
Unprompted.
It's out there a little bit, isn't it?
Something you'd be looking at like a Kickstarter or something? Or like, are we getting a map? We want details. Or any information they're willing to give, I guess.
We did the Ashes Kickstarter to great success, and of course we're looking at like, what would an energizing Summoner Wars Kickstarter that serves as a great jump on point, but also is very exciting and offering something new for the player that's been following all along. And yeah, we're tooling around with the idea of big campaign mode for the game and what that would look like and how to fit that into kind of the reality of multiple different kinds of people's gaming life and who they can get together with, what kinds of Summoner Wars players exist out there to our knowledge, how to make it work for all of them. Yeah, we're trying to make something really cool in that vein, but it's still quite early.
Cool.
But one of the key ideas is there'll be a larger war going on, but when the pieces of this war end up in the same area together, you resolve combat via a full game of Summoner Wars. It would definitely be like this takes place over multiple sessions, but not everybody has to be there to resolve the games. We're trying to figure out what all that looks like and what's viable.
So kind of like potentially some sort of dudes on a map situation, but play Summoner Wars instead of rolling dice. And then roll dice in Summoner Wars too.
That's the most basic pitch, whether it ends up being that. But
yeah, it sounds sort of a legacy aspect too of this will change the world, and like your games of Summoner Wars will have an effect.
We're not going to have you tearing anything up or writing on anything or putting stickers on anything. But
you mean I can't tear apart my Brub card when he fails me?
We have thought there would be some cool ideas there around your faction will kind of evolve as you play, and the idea of like, oh, I won this campaign and this was my ultimate faction, and then you won this campaign over here. Let's get these guys together and see which deck wins and stuff like that.
Ideally, every game would be, this is also not a promise, but hopefully every game would be playable as a private game in Summoner Wars online too.
Right. We're definitely considering, we want to make the decks legal or build, at least able to build them on Summoner Wars online so that you can go and resolve. So that way, ideally, people all across the country could be in a campaign together.
Oh, that's cool.
That would be super cool.
Yeah, I mean, we've just had one playtest, but it basically, there was terrain in the playtest. Not structures, but actual terrain, and it worked really well.
In the games?
In one game.
One
single game we played.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just in a testing mode. But
you're saying out like mountains or rivers or things like that?
Yeah, there's a river with a bridge over it, and the bridge would fall apart. And
yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was acting as a pinch point, and it definitely informed a lot of tactics and stuff in fun ways.
Would the birds just be able to fly over?
Some of it is like we know that we're going to go in with some disparity where some factions are just going to perform better in certain situations than others, and we know that. So can we lean into it in a fun way that also has balance on the other side of it in the greater whole of the thing? Make part of the strategy about, I want to maneuver myself. So when I'm going into a fight, I'm going into a fight under these circumstances that best benefit me.
Sounds interesting.
They're just ideas at this point. We don't have a workable prototype of everything I'm saying right now, but
yeah, it's going to be time. I like the idea of a larger campaign type of mode.
Donald is kind of the driving force behind it right now, and he is the one who has the most experience in Blood Bowl and Mordheim and these different...
He's a big fan of like miniatures games that then have like a metagamer campaign, so he's borrowing from that, coming up with his own ideas, and we're figuring it out.
The idea guy's coming up with ideas? I don't believe it.
So once it's more developed, he'll have to get on this podcast and tell you guys more about it. Because he has a lot of smart ideas. This bridge map, it was like we rolled a die. First of all, there was a D6. Some old fans will
crazy
like that. You go to a map and you roll, and there's 3 outcomes. And one of them is kind of neutral, and one of them favors this kind of style, and one of them favors that kind of style. So it's like you couldn't, of course, you're going to have unfair matchups if you have a lot of terrain, but you can't guarantee. There's uncertainty going into the match every time, things like that.
And there's events outside of combat and stuff like that.
Well, he was telling me about his Blood Bowl League. In his Blood Bowl League, he got too many injuries, and his sponsor is an insurance company. And the insurance company was upset because he was getting too many payouts for all of the injuries. So they came and beat up one of his other players.
One of his non-injured players.
That game gets really detailed, apparently, with the in-between game stuff. Yeah, it doesn't make that much sense when I think about it, because then they would have to pay out again.
I thought they came in and conscripted and enslaved one of them to pay off the debt.
That would make sense. That sounds right.
Well, you guys mentioned the Kickstarter, potentially for Summoner Wars. There's also been an ask from the community of cosmetic upgrades, whether it's every faction gets like a unique gate, or like unique boost tokens, or like there's like special alt arts or stuff like that. Is that something you guys have looked into at all? Is that something that you're open to?
The problem with like an every faction gets thing, there's a hell of a lot of factions and more coming, and then how do you get the ones that come? Like now you're committed to making these things for every faction that comes out. I don't know about the every faction stuff. We've thought about like playmats that are your half of the board that are themed to your faction and stuff like that. But we found out with the deck boxes, nobody wants to just get a few of their favorites. They want to have them all. And it's a lot to commit to. But as far as like hollows and alt art, stuff like that, Kickstarter's a perfect time for that. We've also been working with print on demand for Ashes. So I've been investigating kind of what all can be done via print on demand so that we could, maybe support tournaments with some low print run summoner foils and stuff like that. It's stuff I've thought about. No solid plans in place, but surely there'll be some stuff with the Kickstarter, and there's just so much to do. Not everything gets followed through on. It's definitely something I've thought about.
Well, something that you guys don't have to work on yourselves is the comic book that got announced a while back. Is there...
Well, you say that, but...
You do have to work on it.
Bistro's going to be the writer for that, or has been the writer for that. So we are contributing.
So they're just doing the illustrations then?
Bistro's working together with their main guy on the story and pitching the ideas of where it's going to go and stuff like that. They're the ones that hired the artist and the colorist, but we've been involved in selecting, what kind of style we're going for. It's far exceeding expectations. It's going to be a really genuinely great comic book. Like the art is fantastic. The story's fantastic. Hopefully it has the ability to introduce Summoner Wars to some people and not just serve the existing Summoner Wars community. But as far as like when it will come out and all that, I don't know what I can say. We have a partner in that. So like if it were up to me, I'd already be showing panels and stuff as teasers, but we have to align with them. So we can't go rogue and talk about a bunch of stuff.
Nice try, guys. We got real tight lips over here. There's never any leaks or.
Well, James and I were talking the other day about if they did like a cartoon of it.
Do they have any ideas who would be voice actors? Yeah.
Who's ever willing to do it, I guess. I don't know. That would be so far away from us deciding that.
You're gonna be like, oh, we need this person from Avatar. Yeah, okay.
We know some voice actors, some working professional voice actors that we could suggest. Donald has a great ear for that stuff and has fantastic connections. So it's possible we could suggest.
But like wish list of voice
This is
actors.
pie in the sky thinking to begin with, but then even if we were doing it, it would be a licensed thing. So
Like,
Yeah.
who do you want Andy Serkis to voice in Summoner Wars?
Is he Sneaks? Is he
everybody.
Everybody.
I was just thinking it'd be funny if in one of the games you guys do, if there's a cameo for me and Aaron as like characters in the game that just be like, we make some reference to discarding something and then poof and go away.
I don't know. That's pretty meta. I don't know how I'd
Very, very
be able
bad.
to appreciate that.
Could be a corner of an entry in a campaign book, perhaps. I mean, hey man, you are already a summoner. You are an actual summoner.
Who doesn't exist in second edition yet.
You're the only person who's ever been a summoner.
That's true, I guess. I mean, well, Corey was a champion, I think. But yeah, some people have been
Yeah, that's
champions.
But yeah, that's true. Did we use too many of the ideas from his deck in Vlox's deck? Is Vlox's second edition a deck more of a Jexic deck in disguise?
You could probably make some offshoot of the cloaks that do something different, you know, like another human faction that leans one way or the other, maybe less technology and more sneaky.
I mean, for any of the existing factions, I was looking at everything, both of the summoner decks and the reinforcement deck. Which abilities are the most interesting? And once you have a few seeds there for second edition, it's very much about synergy and combos and stuff like that.
Colby just decided that Vlox was the better name than Jexic. Jexic just doesn't roll off the tongue.
Vlox is going to be much more recognizable. We sold a lot more of those.
Yeah.
It's about, first edition people, who are they going to feel the most connection to as a character?
Jexic didn't even play his own deck. He didn't even like his own deck.
That's true. By the time Jexic came out, that's the thing when you're like, oh, how many of his ideas were used? I don't remember most of what happened in Jexic's deck because it was later on.
I mean, the Machinists were from Jexic's deck. They were the Renegades,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Yeah, I remember the Renegades. Jexic had an ability where he could move something a little bit farther every turn. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's something about moving through gates.
It was, but that's not even that's in Shadowlands.
He had like a concealed weapons thing, so like you surround something and just do damage equal to how many guys you've got, I think, next to
I
it.
remember that one, yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like pile on, but
When we were trying to figure out this psychic water deck the other day, we were looking at all the species in Summoner Wars, and Colby was saying, looks like we're kind of full up on humans at the moment. That was his stray thought at the time. We're short on orcs, though.
Lumber
Very
orcs.
short on orcs. Orcs are way behind. Lumber orcs, yeah.
I was pitching a while ago the orcs for growth primal, I think. Was
Yeah,
what I
the
was
timber
saying.
orcs.
Yeah, timber
that's
is
pretty
better than
good.
lumber. Timber orc is pretty good.
Yeah, I just remember they were lumberjacks.
And they could be wearing actual plaid, so they could be
Right. Mm-hmm.
But only
that's one
hats.
step even better.
And
Yes. Yeah, flannel hats with the flaps. Yeah, they got to stay warm.
loincloths.
Yep.
Yeah, I see orcs as like one of the main races of Summoner Wars because obviously all of the most classic Tolkien races are. They only got 2 of them out there, so we got like 5 elves.
And water's already been done twice on orc, so it could make sense for water resolve. Maybe they'd be like, we're like orc witches, kind of like mix them with Hecatai or something.
Orcs are definitely one of the ones that I was the front runner in trying to come up with.
What to do with water resolve?
But you don't want them to necessarily be very muddy, especially if there's witches, because that
Yeah.
starts to look like swamp orcs and deepwood gropes a little bit. We got 2 very muddy factions. It's tough. We're running out
Yeah.
of stuff.
No, you're not running out of stuff.
I have an idea for like sea orcs that are kind of like piratey.
Ooh.
But
Yeah.
I don't know what the symbols are for those.
I mean, I've been thinking for orcs, that could be like water hunting pirates.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I like
that would be a great
That
one.
sounds right. But yeah, the orcs, they've been shafted. They have got an all-time great champion, but only two factions. But Nick's pushing goblins for one of the upcoming decks, and
Circus goblin.
they're just so easy Yeah, they're so easy to hook in.
I mean, all of those Goblins factions end up being beloved.
Yeah, and Nick pitched that deck to the playtesters like a year or two ago, and I thought it was a fantastic idea then. I'm so
I
excited.
haven't even read it yet.
Yeah, he's had that idea forever. I don't remember why.
I'm going through all the decks that we have designed right now to figure out which one's going to be the next one to play testing. That's at the top of my to-do list.
Tom Vassell did his top 10 Summoner Wars decks recently, and he had, I believe he had the Storm Goblins as his number one.
Yeah, I think the Sand Goblins made the list too.
Yeah, there's some people that hate the Storm Goblins, though. Probably Phoenix Out players the most.
Yeah. Storm Goblins are a fun one. Definitely polarizing.
Yeah, we just had Cole spoiled, and he's kind of has a similar ability to Circuit.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I think that Joe is against that. I just feel like we like introduced the concept, so here's a different way to utilize
And it also can affect structures, so structures can be burning too. So that's a little different.
Mm-hmm.
The playtesters do not like that one. It's too variable for them and everything, but that's one of those times that I'm just like, nah, this is fun. Sometimes fun stuff has to make it through.
Yeah, Cole's an interesting one. Everything just gets on fire, and it's crazy.
Yeah, he can make stuff go crazy, but he's got low enough life that he's containable. There are plans for Cole.
Yeah,
and he costs a lot.
And he costs a lot,
and he hurts himself.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm looking at today's preview. I mean, it'll be in the past by the time people hear this, but to me, I'm looking at these three cards. Cole is not the problem. Raise is the problem.
Raise is a lot.
6 dice.
He's a problem
at a summoner
if you're facing against him.
If he has flown across somewhere, which obviously in the deck is pretty easy to pull off. So Raise is a little crazy. That's the one I'm surprised and get modified.
Well, I think that he's just easier to. The playtesters are really good at countering stuff, right? Like part of the evolution of what is the balance of this deck is what's the ceiling for how good a unit can be played, how good can it be countered, and all of that has to factor in. What are the ceiling for each of those? I think he's just maybe a little more predictable that he's going to come out. You're telegraphing. The bigger the magic cost is of a unit, the more you telegraph that you're working towards it. And so if it's well telegraphed, whereas like Cole is just setting everything on fire, and and it can be hard to avoid that.
Some men just want to watch the world burn.
How are the blood summon tests going? What's going on with that?
You sent us these questions early, and I did not. I should have asked. Joe probably remembers better than me.
We haven't
gun data yet?
Tested something else yet for blood summon. I think we were, because we still had Jacob we were working on and stuff. I'll just be honest here. We squeeze in this errata testing when we can. And a lot of people were, when we were playtesting it, were pretty good with the blood summon we came up with. I definitely took note of how many people and how disappointed they were when it was revealed public. And I get it because I am a big Fallen Kingdom fan. So it has been my intention to circle back when we have a chance, discuss it with playtesters. And
I mean, you say you're a Fallen Kingdom fan, but you've also been one of the biggest proponents of blood summoning's fix, and you feel bad every time you do it to somebody. But the other element is like, well, if we're going to do something with blood summon, we're probably going to have to do something with another Fallen Kingdom card as well.
And
their kind of ranking is in power level is really dependent on blood summon.
One possible fix to blood summon could just be like, if you do, that would nerf it, but it would get rid of, I just killed everything on the board for one giant attack out of nowhere. You would have to actually summon something in order to keep going if you just added the phrase if you do. But we went for more of something that would be not an absolute nerf. It's stronger economically, but it's doesn't have as much reach. People miss that. Before that stuff's finalized, we will reconsider the options there, but we haven't had a chance yet. It's definitely not finalized yet, I guess is the point. We have been very successfully testing Galdas. So he does have different buff. Current changes that have been testing are those 2 events, Blood Summon and Mass Heal, which are both on the public server. We're testing some changes to champs for each of those as well that I think people have been pretty happy with, but I haven't been in there. One thing I was doing the last few weeks was working on the Ashes Dice Roller app, and sometimes for a project like that, I just like go deep into a hole and don't come out for a few weeks to get things done. So I like have not looked at the errata channel or anything like that in playtesting for a while. So we'll have to catch up on that.
For me personally, I like Fallen Kingdom a lot too. I didn't think Blood Summon was as devastating a change as some of the people did, but I also have never used Blood Summon as much as a lot of the other players because I have always been more focused on using Purge as my card of choice to really get things done in that deck. But yeah, there was definitely some people in the community, a fair amount, who were disheartened at losing their chains and Blood Summon and losing their reach from that. And it was cooler to play some champs more often.
Right. I don't know what's going to happen. We will circle back and sort of double check on that. But we haven't had a chance to yet because that stuff kind of gets squeezed in when we can. That's the short answer I could have given, but instead I had to talk myself into what I should have said in the first place.
Has there been any errata talk in Plaid Hat or like in that channel on the Shimmer Sea Fae? Because I know that people really love the Shimmer Sea Fae, but they're still considered probably the weakest faction in the game by a decent little margin.
Not like, well, what would we target? But I have taken note of like, there's just a few factions out there right now that kind of are either a little outside of like, you kind of want them within 5% of even, ideally. Even win rate, 50-50 win rate. And there's just a few factions that are outside of that. I have noted that Shimmer Sea Fae is one of the furthest outside of that.
Like I said, we have to get updates, so we got to ask you guys questions. Man, it seems like the mood sort of shifts over time. So at one point, we're like, well, we got to fix some demo stuff. And obviously for the deck building, but even in general, it's like, wow, this seems crazy. And the mood seemed to be like, it's fine. We don't mind him.
That's the weird thing about the filth is that they're like people agree, yeah, these guys are probably pretty strong, but like no one complains about them because I think their playing style doesn't strike you as being as annoying. You know what I mean?
And I feel like the games with the filth feel closer than sometimes they are because they don't like swarm you or overrun you with a lot of units. And so it might look like it's fairly close at the end. You just couldn't like avoid Abomination, or you couldn't get past like one of their mutants, and
Or you forgot they had another volatile flesh and you just die. And you're like, well.
But they do have like all those tools in their toolkit that they can find you all sorts of different ways. And it makes it easier for them to win games based off they have all the tools for every situation at all times for the most part.
Right, that's the pitch for them.
Yeah. I love them, but
the deck does have kind of a fail state, right? Once you're out of cultists and the Abomination isn't around. So there's sort of a goal to work towards if you're against them. Whereas if you've got devout cultists just showing up forever or whatever, that's not much you could do about it.
They do have some bad matchups, I think, because people in general say, oh, it's not good to rush the filth because they have that horrify and stuff like that. Oddly enough, Cave Goblins and Wayfarers seem to do pretty well against them, and those are a lot of the factions I play the most. Filth haven't personally bothered me that much, and I'm someone who talks a lot. I don't know.
So what about you guys' perspective, and not just your own personal, but the mood around the Shimmer Sea Fae in particular? Is it beyond just a stat thing? What do people feel? They really feel like, no pun intended, they're swimming against the current when they play them?
Yeah, I think so, because the sentiment that we often get from the community about the Shimmer Sea Fae is they really love this faction, and they still play this faction a fair amount because of how much they love it, but they always just feel like they lose a little bit more than they like should be because they don't feel like the faction's like as strong as it should be.
People who love it, what is the thing they love most about it? If we were eroding to make it stronger, what should we lean into?
You don't want to make the Luminous Scout any better. Like, that unit just is like the glue that holds the deck together, right?
People love the Deepwater Sisters. They love like recurring those champs back and back and getting like Nim into the fray.
We often go with like a summoner buff, but I think if Nim were just a little more durable, that could help. Or if she, did more damage somehow or something like that. They like getting in there with the summoner and they like the deck.
Yeah, well, the summoner and the epic event are the two things that are the easiest to
change, yeah.
To drastically shift the win rate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
like the fewest cards.
I mean, I guess the other card that people talk about a lot is like Rebuke. Rebuke is one of those cards that seems to like, it'll just win you a game sometime when an opponent's not expecting it, but a lot of times people discard it because it feels like the cost is too high.
Yeah.
Because you got to pay the cost of the unit.
Yeah. There are certain matchups where it's really good. Like against like the fungal dwarves, if they don't draw another carrier, you just pitch their carrier to the bottom and then they can't infect and things like that.
Which can be brutal.
Some of those weird corner cases where, hey, this is useful. And it's probably useful against other things that have a lot of zero costers like cave goblins and spectral conclave, stuff like that.
It's kind of automatic, like useful against anything that's considered strong for its cost, right? Taking down a Citadel Knight seems like a good idea with it.
It depends on what you can gain from it. Like, yeah, Citadel Knight could be really good, especially if you open up, like, Sarah to an opening that you wouldn't otherwise have. And people definitely lose games to Rebuke. A lot of times, paying 2 or 3 magic for the card feels like a lot for a single event card.
Right, it's hard to sort of win economically with it.
Yeah, so people toss around the idea of, like, maybe it's just, like, a base 1 for all common units. Mm-hmm. Instead of doing the per whatever the unit was. But I don't know how that would work out. That would have to be tested, obviously.
A lot of cards look strong. I mean, Spearhead and like Wade In, it's kind of It looks like we took the training wheels off of some Vanguard stuff, and it's like, oh yeah, and it worked out.
The main issue with Wade In is that a lot of their commons don't have a lot of health.
Yeah.
You don't often need to hit the common a second time. It's like, okay, 2 of them have 2 health. The Luminous Scout and the Oracle each have 2 health. The big one that they point to is they're like upset that like the Changeling Swarm doesn't stick around that long. And they can get killed by, if they've got a Grognak or somebody, can just hit it for 3 out of 4 or a Smasher.
Yeah.
And even a Sister. If you have a 4 attack guy, you play Wade In and you're thinking, I'll protect the Sister, but if they have a reroll and they get that 4 out of 4 or whatever, then okay, well, my event's just there. It does help. I've seen it also clinch games at times too, though. So for every time I say Wade In wasn't that good, there are games where like you dive in with your summoner and a champion or something and you've got them pinned and you play Wade In and Celeste is like, I wanted to attack you 3 times and I can't. And then you can win games that way. So they do win, and when they win it feels good. I think people just get upset that it doesn't happen more often. The other thing people ask for a lot, which I don't know if is the right solution, they want to have more ways to get gates or champions. So like some kind of a searching effect on one of the events is what the people ask for sometimes. But again, I don't know if that's what they need, because then it might just
we got one of those in the Wolves. But I don't think the Wolves share a symbol.
No. And a lot of people don't want to deck build anyway, so you'd probably need to change something in the deck. But I mean, I like deck building, but yeah.
The other card that gets mentioned a fair amount is Corylus, but I don't know if changing that single champ will affect the overall power level a whole lot, but that champ seems very underplayed and a little on the weaker side.
Just make him a brother, a little 2-cost dude.
That would maybe change it. If he was a brother or like another sister or something, that would maybe change it.
A deep water champion. It seems like the most exciting thing when I'm playing it is putting your foot on the gas and not letting go and being able to overwhelm. So, High Tide pushes and the Scout along with Spearhead. So yeah, I wonder if there was some way to extend those turns with some kind of cycling an event back, or...
I think the easiest change to maybe bring them up to power would just be changing Nim to 4 attack value. I think that might bring them into like a reasonable power. And it would still give people that fun aspect of like jumping in and brawling with Nim and having that full force. And you would clear units a little easier. I think that might be the easiest change that gets you guys like the best results.
Yeah, it's definitely where my mind goes for just pure, let's get their win rate up, is just to tweak the summoners, one of the stats, like for attack.
It'd be nice if you didn't have to choose between healing and damaging something adjacent.
That might be a
Both.
bit too strong.
I'm pretty sure it got tested like that. Probably the original design.
You have two abilities, ebb and flow. No.
Yeah, it's funny because yes, she is pretty weak in general play, but it does feel also like the wrong change could completely break the game.
Yeah.
If you had a way to keep Wade in around for a couple turns.
And it's a tougher like precipice with those aggressive factions. That's part of why like people are okay with Filth being the strongest faction, is because it's not normally like as aggressive or as like oppressive when you play against them. But like if Cave Goblins or like Shimmersea Fae were the strongest faction, even like a Vanguards, which is like a defensive faction but can be very like oppressive when you play against them. If those were the strongest factions in the game, I think there would be some outrage for sure.
Yeah, it's not always about numbers, it's about how it feels when you're playing.
Well, guys, once again, with a podcast with Joe and Colby, we have gone so far over the time that it'll be in 2 parts. This has been another episode of Discard for Magic, and we'll see you guys in a couple weeks.